Welcome to today's Explainer. We're jumping right into a genuinely chilling local legend today. We're going to unpack exactly what happens when modern urban arrogance collides head-on with deeply rooted folklore. So stick around because step by step, we're going to deconstruct the entire anatomy of a haunting.
Now look at this quote, "No one has survived because of their stubbornness." That's a heavy, ominous warning right off the bat, right? It was actually delivered by a local maid to our newlyweds, Jayton and Juhi. It's not just a casual heads up, it's basically a prophecy. It tells us right from the start that their ultimate enemy isn't even the supernatural entity, it's their own hubris.
Which brings us to our first section, warnings and urban arrogance. You can really see the stark contrast here. On one side, you have Jatin and Juhi. They're fresh from a beautiful destination wedding in Manali, and they're hyper-focused on one very modern convenience, catching their morning flight. You know, it's a superhuman tendency, right? Prioritizing our schedules and technology over, well, ancient intuition. They completely dismiss the local fears as just silly rumors. But then, on the other side, you've got the villagers. They are armed with generations of actual experiential knowledge about this specific cursed road, and they explicitly warn the couple not to travel at night. This fatal flaw, this modern impatience blinding them to traditional wisdom, is quite literally where the nightmare begins.
Moving on to Section 2, Start of the Terrifying Road. So this journey isn't just a drive, it's really more of a descent. Take a look at this timeline. At night, they leave the hotel. By midnight, the exact moment they turn onto the village road, they're hit with this unexplained freezing cold. Deep night rolls in, bringing escalating omens that they of course stubbornly ignore. And finally, pre-dawn brings the inescapable crash. Every single mile they drive is just a step deeper into a nightmare, all fueled by that initial stubbornness we talked about.
Okay, let's look at Section 3, Initial Signs of Fear. As you'll see, the entity methodically isolates their senses. It's wild. First up, temperature. The car turns absolutely freezing cold, even though the AC is completely broken. It's this immediate invasion of their physical space. Next, we hit the visual aspect. Jatin slams the brakes for a woman in a white sari, but here's the kicker. It's an apparition Juhi can't even see. Finally, the auditory. Juhi steps out into the dark woods near a washroom and hears the distinct chon-chon sound of anklets following her. It's a highly calculated, systematic attack on their senses. So panicked by the sound in the dark, Juhi suddenly feels a rough hand grab her shoulder. But it's just a dry tree branch. This is such a brilliant narrative use of a false jump scare. It releases that tiny valve of tension, tricking the characters and, honestly, us as the audience into briefly lowering our guard. Juhi runs back to the car thinking, okay, my mind is just playing tricks on me. But wow, the danger is far from over. And that leads us to Section 4, Juhi's mysterious behavior. Now, earlier in the drive, Juhi had briefly fallen asleep, just out of pure boredom. So we really have to ask, was Juhi really sleeping? Or did that moment of unconsciousness in a cursed environment open a door to something else? Because when she returns to the car, something is deeply wrong. Her hair is obscuring her face, she's staring blankly ahead, and when Jatin tries to touch her, she violently snaps at him and her eyes are completely white. No way, right? She literally leans out the window, speaking in this heavy, demonic voice, telling Jatin it's their last night. He's absolutely terrified and nearly crashes the car. And then, Juhi just bursts out laughing. This is what we call the possession fakeout. It's when someone exhibits all the classic signs of a demonic takeover, only to claim it was just a cruel prank. But actually, this narrative twist is incredibly sinister, because this dramatic, loud, fake possession, it brilliantly masks the silent, very real danger that is secretly building up right next to her. Let's dive into Section 5, Terrifying Truth and End. Here's the terrifying part. The real possession happens with absolutely zero theatrics. Jatin just falls completely, unsettlingly silent. He starts driving with this chilling calmness. When an apologetic Juhi tries to comfort him, he aggressively brushes her hand away. Notice that terrifying contrast there. Juhi's fake possession was super loud and dramatic, but the real supernatural entity? It takes over Jatin with a deadly, eerie silence. And from that silence, the escalation into absolute chaos is incredibly fast. Jatin turns to Juhi, and his eyes shift from blood red to pure white. Then, in the rearview mirror, Juhi doesn't see her husband.
She sees a demonic, burned face. Speaking in this unnatural, heavy voice, the entity claims it takes a soul every single night on this road. Before Juhi can even process that her horrific prank has basically come true, the possessed Jotun grabs her and brutally snaps her neck. It's just a grim conclusion to their physical journey. The possessed Jotun actually laughs at Juhi's lifeless body, hits the gas, and deliberately crashes the car head-on into a tree. The impact is so severe that Jotun is killed instantly. And then, as the dust settles, a dark shadow is seen escaping from his body, just vanishing back into the dark, cursed road, completely ready to wait for its next victims. The next morning, the wreckage is finally found. The police arrive, the locals gather around, and we come full circle back to the villagers, specifically that maid who warned them the night before. She says, these city folks don't listen to us first and then lose their lives. It is such a tragic, devastating validation of those initial warnings. The entity might have been the weapon, sure, but their refusal to respect local boundaries and their sheer hubris in prioritizing a morning flight over their own safety, well, that was the ultimate cause of their demise. So, as we wrap up and look at the mechanics of this legend, we really have to ask ourselves, was it just the extreme fatigue of an unfamiliar, pitch-black road playing deadly psychological tricks on their minds, culminating in a tragic accident? Or does the haunted village road truly lie in wait, demanding a toll from the arrogant who dare to cross it? It's definitely a chilling thought to carry with you the next time you decide to ignore a local warning. Thanks for joining me to explore this fascinating and frankly terrifying explainer today. Keep questioning and keep learning.